superstar Billy Graham came back in '86, I think, after a pretty long layoff, and he was down in NWA, completely new look and everything. I'm sure you met him years before, but specifically, do you remember when you were in the WWF and he came back in like the early '80s with this bald head and the karate thing going on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, he was the hottest thing in New York that they had at the time. He was fantastic. The great body, the great interviews. His interviews were still there, and Vince was. I guess Vince was just. The McMahons fall in love with somebody, and they usually fall in love with them for life, no matter what they do. I don't know what, like Andre walks on water as far as senior and junior was concerned. Freddie Blassie was another one of them. They got guys that they just I guess came to their area, made them a lot of money, and really were really got really close with the family. So I know senior and junior loved the Giant. I forget who we were just talking about.
Superstar.
Superstar. Yeah. Well, he was. He'd done a great. And Kevin Sullivan, his interview with the senior made one of his biggest mistakes is after about a year and a half with the belt is not switching Billy to a baby, because he would have been, boy, that would have. I don't know if the world was ready for it at the time. If wrestling was set up for that type of thing. But his interview and his shtick and everything he had, it would have worked for as big as that territory. It would have worked for a couple of years, because he was just people were maybe his ring work or whatever, but people were enthralled with him.
Did he, when he came back with the karate thing, was he suffering some sort of crisis of confidence maybe? Because I know his body shrank a bit at the time.
He had liver problems, steroid abuse and different things. And he had some demons, he had some demons, pills and some other stuff that he overcame and made him, a stronger person for it. But he did run into some obstacles along the way. And I guess it was just Vince and senior and junior, extending an open hand, try and get him back, back on track, which he did for a while. And and then moved to Arizona.
Yeah, and he had a load of tarantulas on his face. I saw the, oh my God. When he came back, I mean, he seemed like full back of the confidence and everything like that. I mean, I don't know how well you knew him personally, but I mean, how did he come across to you? I mean, was he a different person than 5 years ago when he was in a darker place?
Yeah, everything was back. I met him. I first knew him in LA territory. When I first went to LA from Vancouver, he was superstar. They had him there with Dr. Jerry. They'd have the New York office. We'll go back to Vince Sr. He loved Dr. Jerry Graham. And he was a big card, him and Eddie. In the 50s, he was a big star and everything. He was the man around New York. And guys used to talk about him in the business as being, so he ran, demons and stuff. His mother passed away. He flipped out. Went down and grabbed her body out of the mortuary, took it and stuff So, okay. And Dr. Jerry was going through his demons as well. And I guess Dusty had him for a while, had Dr. Jerry for a while in Amarillo, but he got moved on somewhere. He was, they partnered him up. That's how Billy got the Graham name. They partnered him up with Dr. Jerry, and he was more or less, see, Vince, people didn't know till later, is Vince, Johnny Ross, S.T. Jones, a lot of the guys, the staple guys that lived around New York City and stuff worked. Vince would send them out there to L.A. for Mike LaBelle, and they would work. And Vince would give them a guarantee of maybe $500 a week, just in rough. I don't know what the guarantee. I'm just, for instance, a $500 guarantee, and they would make their money in L.A., which wasn't no money to make in L.A. $25, $50 a night if you're lucky. and they would make their payoff in LA, but Vince would always supplement it. So he came out. So Vince, so they had their eye on Billy long before that. Then after that, he went to AWA, Superstar with Wahoo, and all those that feud they had over there, and which was a big one in AWA at the time. First with the strap matches and the bull rope matches and everything else before, he went to New York and got the belt. But he came back. He was working out with Arnold in Southern California at the old Gold's Gym and stuff. And he's a legend. And we're in bodybuilding and Arnold and those guys. Arnold helped him out a lot too. Arnold did helped him later, in later years as well. Got him on the president's where you go around to schools and drug talks and stuff like that. That he had abused drugs and had pictures of his liver, how crusty his liver had become, and stuff like that. So he went around and I don't Bush or whoever the president was at the time. They enlisted Billy as an ambassador, as it be, around to schools and youth programs and stuff like that.